my channel, and today we'll be looking at solving this simultaneous equation. So I'll be showing you how to solve it, right? So if you realize we have two equations in one, right? So we have 2x plus y is equal to 7 and x minus 2y is equal to 1, right? Two equations that are connected, right? So what we need to do, right, is to first we need to get rid of one of the terms, either the x term or the y term. So let me explain what I mean, right? First, I speak of variables. Variables are letters, right? So if you see, like, for example, 2x, x would be a variable because x is a letter. And where you see, like, for 2y, y would be a variable because y is a letter, right? And coefficients, right? Coefficients are basically numbers which come before a letter, right? Letters which we call variable. So if you see for 2x, 2 would be a coefficient because 2 is a number, and 2 would be a coefficient, right? Because 2 is a number, right? As it comes before the y, right? So now let us speak of a term. A term is where I have a coefficient and a variable coming together. So you see the example we saw, like 2x. 2 is a coefficient as it is a number, and x is a variable as a letter. So whenever they come together, they form a term. So this is what I mean when we say to get rid of our x terms, right? So so our x or y term, sorry. So in this case, right, so to solve this equation, we need to find what x is and y is. So we can first do this. We need to get rid of the x or the y terms first. Anyone is fine. I prefer to get rid of the y terms first, so I'll be getting rid of the y one first, right? The y terms. So if we're to look, the y terms are y, right? We can call it 1y because every single variable, it has a coefficient of 1, right? When you see it by itself like this. So the y terms are 1y and minus 2y. So what we need to do is to get them to be the same in order to get rid of them. So we know that the coefficients, to get them the same, 1 is different from the 2, right? So to do that, what we need to do is to multiply the first, let's label this as equation 1 and equation 2, right? So what we need to do is to multiply the multiply the coefficients of the second variable of this in the second equation for the y term, right, which is 2, right? So we're going to multiply the coefficient of the y term in the second equation by everything in the first equation, right? Even though a minus is before the 2, right? We're not going to multiply by negative 2. We'll just simply multiply by 2, right? So we're going to multiply the coefficient in the second equation by everything in the first equation, right? And then now, after, we're going to multiply the y coefficient in the first equation, right, which is 1, by everything in the second equation, right, which is x minus 2y is equal to 1, right? So basically, if you realize that we multiplied the coefficients in the second equation by everything in the first equation, and we're going to multiply the coefficients in the second equation, which is in the first equation, which is 1, by everything in the second equation, right, which is x minus 2y is equal to 1. So let's do that now. So let's multiply the coefficients in the second equation by everything in the first equation. So 2 times 2x is going to give us 4x, right? 2 times y or 1y is going to give us 2y. So far we have 4x plus 2y is equal to 7 times 2 is just 40. So now let's multiply what's in the second the coefficient which is in the first equation by everything in the second equation. So 1 times x is just x, right? 1 times negative 2y is just going to give us negative 2y is equal to 1 times 1, which is 1. So now, if you realize, we did get our coefficients to be the same, 2 and 2, right? So we got the coefficients to be the same, right? So now we need to determine whether we need to get rid of them, right? By getting down to 0, because we need to get rid of the y terms. So now we need to decide whether we're going to add or subtract. So in the first equation, right, the y term, right, is 2y. In the Second equation is negative 2y. So what we need to do now is to determine whether we're going to add or subtract to get it to 0. So let's see what happens when we subtract, right? So it's going to be 2y minus negative 2y, right? So whenever we subtract, right, then that's going to become, the 2 minus is going to become a plus, so it's going to become 2y plus 2y is going to give us 4y. But no, we want to get it to 0. So what we need to do is, we know that subtraction is out of it. So let's see what happens when we add. So 2y plus negative 2y, we know whenever we have a plus or minus in the middle, it becomes a minus. It's going to become 2y minus 2y is equal to 0. So this shows that we got it to 0, so we need to add, right? We only have two options to either add or subtract. So whenever we add, we're going to get the coefficients, the y terms to go away, right? So it's going to become 0 when we add them together. So this means that if we are going to add the y terms, right, this means that we need to add for every part of the equation. So it's going to become 4x plus x is equal to 14 plus 1. So 4x plus x is 5x is equal to 14 plus 1, which is 15. To get x by itself, we divide both sides by 5. And x is just 3. And being that we found what x is, right, this means that we could just find what y is. So we can do that by plugging in the value of x in any one of these equations, right? So we could do it in either 2x plus y is equal to 7 or x minus 2y is equal to 1. Any other original equation. I'm going to go with equation 2, right? X minus 2y is equal to 1. So x is 3, so it's supposed to be 3 minus 2y is equal to 1. So we need to get rid of what's beside the coefficient, which is we need to get rid of what's beside the term, which is minus 2y, right, which is this 3 here. So to do that, we need to do the opposite of positive 3, as a 3 is positive, which is to just minus 3 from both sides in order to get it to get rid of the 3 here. So this means that we're going to be left with minus 2y is equal to 1 minus 3. So minus 2y is just going to be equal to minus 2, and to get y by itself, we divide both sides by negative 2, which means that y is just 1. Alright, so that's how you'd solve it. So this is just showing that y is equal to 1. Alright, so, and just know that so x is 3, y is 1. So if you want to see if you're correct, you can plug in the values of x and y into your equation. So choose any one of them. So being that it's 2x plus y is equal to 7, I'm going to try that one. So it's going to be 2 times the value of x, which is 3, plus 1 times the value of y, which is 1, is equal to 7. So let's see if we got that. 2 times 3 is 6, right? 1 times 1 is 1. So far we have 6 plus 1 is equal to 7, and 7 is equal to 7. So that's how we know that our equation is right. Alright, so that's how you solve simultaneous equation. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something new. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.